Russell and Dave Brown right along ringside with another incredible day of championship wrestling. David?
Get ready today. Lots of folks are going to be here, but we have a CWA tag team title match right here coming up in the ring today. So it is championship wrestling.
We both remember what happened the last time we had a CWA
You're exactly right.
Hey, listen, Dave, in addition to that, throughout the entire show today, we're going to be talking about what I think is one of the most mentionable events that has ever taken place in wrestling. We're talking about the Renegade Super Challenge. We'll be back in a moment. About this guy standing next to me and a few bad ones every now and then. Promoter Eddie Marlin. But, Eddie, I got to shake your hands right on top. You got the doggonedest thing going I believe I have ever run into in my life. Tell me a little of the background on it.
Well, I can't take the credit from this. Tommy Watson from the Renegade people, he came to me and he wanted me to go around to several of the wrestlers, well, all that I could, and find out what is the toughest wrestling match that they'd ever been involved in.
In all honesty, all wrestlers face that question from the fans. You've had it asked you?
Sure, I've had it asked me, and I'm sure all the wrestlers have. And I'd have went around to all of them that I could get in touch with and asked them the toughest matches that they ever had. And man, I'm telling you, some of the answers that I got was so, you just couldn't imagine what was going on.
Yeah.
So we went together in this Renegade Superstar Challenge matches, and I think it's great.
Well, I got to tell you, Eddie, the whole thing has got me so excited on it that I just can't wait to reveal to the folks all about it. Now, who was the first one that you talked to?
Jeff Jarrett.
Okay,
Naturally.
well, let's take a look and see Eddie Marlin talking to Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff, Tommy Watson of the Renegade people wanted me to come by and find out from you what's the toughest wrestling match you've ever been involved in.
Well, the toughest match, Ed. Well, right off the top of my head, I guess, here lately I've had some tough matches against Dutch Mantell. About a year ago, it seems like I had a real tough match against Bill Dundee in Louisville, Kentucky. We fought all over that building. I've had a fight against Jerry Lawler, and that world title, I guess, speaks for itself how tough that was. But the incident that probably stands out the most is it happened before I even got in the wrestling business. I was 17 years old, down in Memphis, Tennessee, right there in the studio. I was a referee in a match, Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell against Jim Jameson and David Johnson, and the match was over, and Buddy Landell, I guess he didn't like how I was refereeing, and he knocked my lights out in one punch, and I guess it wasn't much of a fight, but it was awful tough.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
I'll tell you, Jeff has changed a little bit in those days. Now, that was an interesting conversation with Jeff, but how did this tie in with Tommy?
Well, Tommy Watson came to me, and he wanted me to go around and find out about the toughest matches the wrestlers been involved in. And, I thought he was going to do an article for one of the many books that they publish, or magazines. But shoot, Tommy got serious right away. He said, let's sign those matches. And man,
to make the matches after the guys
right.
So in this case, Jeff Jarrett has mentioned Buddy Landell. And have you signed Buddy Landell?
I had to get on the phone. I got a hold of Buddy Landell, and Buddy Landell said, sure, I'll be there. I'll take on Jeff Jarrett any time. But to me, I think Buddy Landell is looking on Jeff Jarrett as the little kid that was
refereeing.
That's right.
You'll find there's a whole lot of difference since he's got a bunch of victories behind and a whole lot bigger than he was.
That's right.
Eddie, this is not the end of the story. We're going to be telling the folks about this Renegade Superstar Challenge throughout the entire day today. And again, partner, congratulations. It's a great idea.
Thank you. And let me say again, take my cap off to Tommy Watson.
Okay, Ed, we'll be talking to you later on. Thank you, partner. I think we're about ready for action up there in the ring here. We've gotten started on what is a dynamite idea. And I think you're going to be as excited as we were about the entire concept and the actual things that have been signed up. David, we got some action in the ring for a CWA tag title match.
That's right, and the belts are around the waist of Jed Grundy and Scott Steiner. The champions are in the ring. The challengers, the former holders of those belts, stepping up into the ring right now. Jimmy Golden out of Montgomery, Alabama is already there. The Tennessee Stud. Somebody in the audience holding up a sign says the Tennessee Dud. Tennessee Stud is climbing through the ropes right now, and the Stud stable, Robert Fuller, Jimmy Golden, are going to be trying to take these belts back. Here's Jed Grundy over here. He's...
Tell you what, she couldn't milk a cow if her life depended on it.
Oh, talking about Sylvia. Yeah.
Put cornbread and beef and burn it.
Burnt cornbread.
Okay, Sev, you stay away from that chicken.
I wonder if she can fry the chicken. She can't cook the cornbread there.
We'll be making comments about, for you folks who don't know, Jed ended up winning Sylvia to take that girl to the farm and make her his ideal dream farm girl. We've got some yeah, that ain't all. We'll tell you about that as we go along, but we're ready for big action today, David.
Championship belts on the line. Jerry Calhoun, the referee, has the belts, and so there they are. CWA tag titles are going to be up for grabs here, and we'll put the belts over here close to the chicken.
Okay, there we go. We enjoyed the upset last week and the win of the titles and all, but we're not for 1 minute counting Fuller and Golden out. They're too tough, David.
Yeah, I think Fuller and Golden probably overlooked the seriousness of the threat from this team last week, and they got upset. But you're absolutely right. You can't count Fuller and Golden out in any match. In most matches, whether they got the belts or not, they're going to go in as favorites in the match. I don't think I would put them favorites necessarily this time, because Grundy and Steiner are certainly a fine tag team, no doubt about it.
And they've proven that they can beat them, and they did do it because they own the belts. And now it's up to Fuller and Golden. And remember, the champion always has that going for him, Dave, that in a disqualification, they keep the belts. If they even, you know, however it goes, they keep the belts on a disqualification and various things like that. So the champions definitely will have an advantage. And Steiner is in there with Robert Fuller right now.
Scott Steiner, young man out of Detroit, Michigan, and the University of Michigan. In the air with a drop kick. He hit Robert Fuller with it, and Fuller immediately goes out of the ring, down on the floor, screaming and complaining toward the crowd. And Jimmy Golden is saying, come on, Robert. He got you by accident. There was no way he could do that 2 times. They leave the chicken alone now.
Hey, let me tell you one line, Dave, and talking to Jed before we got out here today, talking about Sylvia, he said hey, boy, I'll tell you. He said she can't milk. He said she couldn't even go in and pick up the eggs without a stick in her hand because she's afraid of the chicken. He said really the only thing she was good for was to serve as a rake. He didn't think too much of Sylvia's capability.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes truth is hard there, Mr. Grundy. He found out about Miss Sylvia. Jimmy Golden took a swing and missed. Scott Steiner ducked under. Jed Grundy didn't miss as Golden went over to the corner. Look at Steiner, grabs Fuller, puts a knee top on him. He bounced toward the corner, and Grundy put him down at the mat, too. Scott Steiner, Jed Grundy, looking like a very good team here. Boy, they're working together well. Whoa, the chicken is just falling down on the floor. Sylvia, get away from the chicken. Sylvia over here with a kendo stick. Robert, hey, you folks get back in the ring and leave Jed's chicken alone, please. And their referee is trying to get him back up in the ring there. I don't know, Robert Fuller and Robert, match going on in the ring here.
But, hey, why don't you pick on somebody your own size in there instead of messing and trying to hurt this chicken over here? Steiner taking a shot or two from Jimmy Golden. Golden hammers the head over in the corner, right on the turnbuckle, feels him out of the corner into the center. He really popped him off the hip.
Yeah, he bounced off the apron, off the mat there. Look at Golden. Going for the eyes and the nose. Referee trying to back him away from him on the ropes, and Fuller grabs him.
Takes over. Oh, great.
Doubling up on Steiner over the ropes. Referee sending Grundy back outside. We're at 3 minutes, 45 seconds of action.
There's a case where these guys are horsing with a disqualification. It's just what we were talking about. If they disqualified them, Steiner and Jed get to keep the belts in there.
Referee trying to get Fuller. Legally, you got to stand there with one hand on the turnbuckle. Jimmy Golden with Scott Steiner down on the mat. Referee's telling him break the hold. He was twisting his nose and everything else. Golden did break the hold, but right back to him. Hey, look at Steiner. Steiner pops him over to the corner. Tag made. Here comes Grundy. Here comes Robert Fuller.
Fuller decided not to come up, but there he goes. He got him in.
Grundy flips him into the ring. Right hand by Jed Grundy. Scott Steiner over with Golden.
Steiner's got the sleeper on Golden. Oh, Sylvia slips the kendo stick. And Fuller takes that kendo stick and slams Scott Steiner. Cover 1, 2, 3. It's typical fashion. They end up winning the belt. Are you proud of that win, aren't you?
The picture's still going to happen. Sooner or later, the cream of the crop will come to the top.
Yeah, sure. When you got the kind of action that you guys do, I mean to tell you, they have no respect for it at all. Do it at any cost, Dave.
They get the win. The time on it 4 minutes, 58 seconds, and they have just regained the CWA tag titles from Grundy and Steiner.
Well, Scott and Jed Grundy you haven't heard the last of them yet. So we have new CWA tag champions, actually the ones that were there 2 weeks ago in Fuller and Golden in there. I want to take time now to get back into something that involved the Renegade Superstar Challenge, and I got to tell you, Jed is looking for his chicken, and I don't blame him. He's over here, Jed. Right. He's down on the floor. They were throwing things at him and hitting at him. Jed coming over to pick up chicken, and he's got him now. Okay, better luck, partner. I didn't know all of it. There was some conversation that had to do with Robert Fuller about who the toughest match that he ever had was. Let's take a listen to what happened in that interview.
Robert, Eddie Marley.
Yes,
I didn't invite you out here.
Well, I just want to
after some of the stuff you've done to me, you shouldn't be out here on my property without asking me to come out here.
I know. I apologize for bothering you, but Tommy Watson of the Renegade people want me to come by and ask you, what's the toughest wrestling match you've ever been involved in? You answer that, and I'll assure you that I'll get off your property.
You know, you want my fantasies about that, or you want me to tell you what my toughest match was? If I was to tell you my fantasies, one night I had a dream, Eddie, and I had to be straight with you on it, that I didn't know. You let me hold a shotgun here. I don't know if you can handle it or not. That I had a dream one night about wrestling the toughest man and really finding out who the best man was, and I dreamed about wrestling myself. I realize that's not what you're asking me. I'll tell you, probably the toughest match that I ever had, Eddie, you want to know the real truth about it, was my own family, and I had it with my brother. And I had it with my brother over this Tennessee stud issue. Both of us born in the state of Tennessee, and me being the toughest man all of my life, and then my brother coming along and trying to steal my name. And it came down to the hawk, and we didn't want to wrestle tag team. It's 10 years. We went, both of us in the same career, and never wrestled tag team, and never got along worth a flip, so it came down to a head, and I tried to beat his goofy tail to death, Eddie. We'll know the truth about it.
Well, there's Robert Fuller talking about his toughest match with his brother.
Yes, as a matter of fact, he was making reference. Let me do something here. Okay. Yeah. He was making reference to Big Ron, who is retired. I want to try to see if later on we can get Ron on the phone and talk to him about it, because Eddie Marlin made an effort to get in touch with Ron and see if Ron, who is retired now and a successful businessman, he's into a lot of other ventures, to see whether there's any way in the world that he would come out on a Superstar Challenge. Ron Fuller said, I am not... Hey, come on, Robert.
Hold up there just a minute. Now, how come Eddie Marlin come over here to my house and buddying in my days off and then try to set me up for a match with my brother? That's exactly what he's done, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you that's what he's done.
Yeah, you'll tell me that's what he's done.
We're trying to get your brother on the phone right now.
I don't want to talk to my brother, and I don't want to hear his voice, but I'm going to leave a message for him. If you get this TV over there in the other end of Tennessee, I want you to know something. You can steal right now how you want them Arabs to blow the side out of the plane so you'll crash or fall down on the carpet somewhere walking through the airport, or maybe get eat up by that escalator, have a wreck in a taxi cab on the way to the building. You better find yourself a way out, because if you don't, son, you're going to meet the Tennessee stud, and we're going to forget about brothers. Once more, Lance Russell, we're going to forget about brothers. I carried this hide once before, and I'll do it again.
Yeah, hey, I want you to know that in talking to him, he didn't refer to you as his younger brother. He said as my little brother.
He should have said my tougher brother than me, if he wants to be.
Okay, Superstar Challenge, it really excites the imagination to think of big Ron Fuller, I mean 6'9", 6'10", being back in there against Robert Fuller. We're going to take time out, be back with more of Superstar Challenge. Okay, back into the action coming up here in just a moment. Brother, Wednesday night when that Renegade Superstar Challenge comes in. And I tell you what, a great idea to go back and find out from some great stars what the toughest opponents, and then try to sign them. That's what's happened in the Superstar Challenge. Dutch and Bill in a bullwhip match, and you got Jeff and Nature Boy Buddy Landell. We'll be hearing from in a moment. One of the matches that I'm particularly interested in is called A Blast from the Past. Eddie Marlin was asked who the toughest opponent. He said his former partner, Tommy Gilbert, and they really got into it, and Tommy's here and ready.
Lance, you said having trouble signing. Who had trouble signing who? You didn't have any trouble signing me. Watson, is that his name?
Yeah.
Call
Tommy
me.
Watson.
It wasn't any problem, man. You want to come on, Eddie Marlin? Come on. You know, I don't care, because, man, what you see is what you get, Eddie. I don't bring nothing to the ring with me. I don't come out there in my robes. I don't come out there in anything else. Give me my little Tweety bird, and that's all I got, baby. Just come on.
Well, it's one of those situations where, of course, they were deep friends, and when the split came in there, it became just as deep in terms of the enemies. And Eddie Marlin and Tommy Gilbert are going to be part of that card. We've got some words from Buddy Landell.
Okay, Mr. Jeff Jarrett, so your big gripe is that you're not the same guy that the Nature Boy Buddy Landell slapped around a couple of years ago. Well, you're wrong, because you are classified in professional wrestling as a junior heavyweight. The Nature Boy Buddy Landell has been to national stardom as a heavyweight. You understand what I'm saying? So your big deal is you're not the same guy you was then. I'd say you're the same punk kid that you was then you are now. I'm going to stomp you, boy.
I'll tell you, that's another of those Superstar Challenge when you're going to see the Nature Boy finding out Jeff Jarrett has grown up. Be there Wednesday. Okay, coming to the ring in just a moment. It's going to be one of the roughest teams that we've seen Tojo Yamamoto associated with, and that takes in a lot
He's
of
had some tough ones. He sure has. I tell you what, going all the way back to himself and Professor Ito, I remember. A pretty tough team. Right up through this one right here, climbing in the ring, Shogun Masamune and Samurai Shinji. They'll be going against David Johnson and Chris Frazier, and I sure don't... I would hate to be in their shoes today, to tell you the truth.
They're certainly the heavy favorites in the match in there, but they not only want to win it, they always take pleasure in hurting somebody when they get in that doggone ring.
Exactly right. And they're up there now, ready to go in a tag team match. It'll be one fall, 10-minute time limit. Tojo Yamamoto is in the corner, and also E.Y. Chuhai. Tojo has a kendo stick. Chuhai's over here with a samurai sword.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's all we need out here, huh?
It's always a comforting thought when you see somebody as crazy as P.Y. Chu Hai walking around with a sword that could barbecue you here any minute. In the ring, it's Masamune. Oh, he's just killing Chris Frazier. Just slapped him with a chop.
He really smacked him with a chop back on the ropes, flips him in the center of the ring, over to his partner, makes the tag with a hip throw. He puts him down. Got him up in the air with that fireman's carry and then just dropped him backwards onto the mat. Throws him over to the corner. It says, tag your partner. David Johnson coming in. David comes in, but he has jumped immediately.
Put him on that hip and bounced him down on the floor, and David Johnson making a run at Masamune, and Masamune with that spinning back kick just took him out of action right away.
Popped him right down to the mat. David, oh, there's another one. David again hits the mat. Masamune throws David Johnson over to the corner and allows him to tag Chris Frazier. Frazier back in.
I don't think Chris is completely recovered from that first effort in there, Dave.
That's just what I was going to say. It looks to me like he needed a little more time to relax and rest and recuperate over there, and he just didn't have it because Johnson was really getting battered too. Masamune lost his headband in one of those exchanges. Tojo Yamamoto scooped that out of the ring.
Masamune, it looked like it's, and I have no idea, but just looking at it in there, he may have broken Frazier's nose in that first exchange in there. And Chris, as you indicated, had not recovered. Samurai Shinji comes in, slams him down, and tags back to the bigger Masamune, Shogun Masamune. Up in the air and slam him down to the mat, and Chris Frazier is really being devastated in there. Masamune again whips him across. Big spinning back kick, and he caught him with a full leg that time, Dave.
He puts a foot on his throat, count is 2, 3, and that's it. Actually, just below the throat. And now the Japanese team kicking Chris Frazier out of the ring. David Johnson then try to help him out, and they just kick him unmercifully, too. Tojo up there with a kendo stick, and Johnson and Frazier finally out of the ring. Here comes a little help in the form of the Mason-Dixon connection. Tracy Smothers and John Paul, they arrived just in time there.
Yes, coming over here, John Paul. Man, we're glad to see you back.
It's good to be back. It's great to be back in Memphis. Look at all the smiling people.
Well, and here's a young man I haven't seen in several weeks because he got injured while I was away on vacation. Tracy Smothers. Trace?
Lance, you know, it is a pleasure to be back. It's good to be back, and I'm lucky to be back. I'm lucky to be back in wrestling. You know, Eddie Marlin came to me when I first got here today, and he said, Tracy, he said, what is the toughest situation you have ever been in your entire career? You know, I thought long and hard. I've been in this sport 4 years, and I've been hit with everything but the kitchen sink. But I'd have to say the toughest situation was 3 weeks ago right here when I got DDT'd on this table right here and then power drived on the floor. I think we got some film of that.
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, it was a situation where Shogun Samurai, you see P.Y. Chu Hai out there, everybody trying to get a little piece of the action in there. And Tracy ended up right here on this very table. It was actually destroyed, and out Phil Hickerson, P.Y. Chu Hai, with a helpful spike from Masamune and Shinji.
You know, if that wasn't enough, they DDT me on the table right here. Then the coup de grace, they come out here, power drive me on the floor. You know, I always respected the Japanese athletes. I've competed in Japan on 2 different occasions. I've always respected you guys, but 3-on-1, you're a real big, tough man. Let me tell you something. It ain't over to the fat lady sings, man, and I don't see no fat ladies out here whistling Dixie, so that means you got to face John Paul and Tracy Smothers, the wild-eyed Southern boys. So you buckle it up real tight, boys, because when we come in the Superstar, we're coming, we ain't coming for no wrestling match. We're coming for a fight. So Tojo Yamamoto, you better get out of town, you and your stinking Japs, because there's 2 new sheriffs now, John Paul and Tracy Smothers, the wild-eyed Southern boy.
Glad to have you guys and looking forward to the match. Time out. Be back in a moment.
All right. We're back real quickly here. Rodney Napper is standing up in the ring right now, and here comes Mr. D. I don't know too much about him, but I'll tell you this. He's big.
He is big, and he goes by the name now of Action Jackson, Dave.
Oh, okay.
Action Jackson.
Action
Okay,
Jackson.
bell time.
Well, Action Jackson, let's see. Looks like he's starting off with some action here. Big, broad arm across the back. Rodney Napper giving away lots and lots of weight. Ooh. Oh, my goodness. I'm surprised Napper shook his head. That shook him up, but he did get up on his feet. Action Jackson. Oh. That takes some power to do that.
Wow. He looks like he's going into a suplex. He stands him on his head and then drives the head down almost like that gourd buster. And look at Napper. He's still trying. 2 drop kicks. And Big Action Jackson turns him over. A complete 360. Picking him up again. He is really gotten to the very stout and game Rodney Napper again. Drives him back down. Whoop.
Boy, there's a cover. 1, 2, and I think this one's over, friends. It's 1 minute, 1 second. 1:01, our first look at Action Jackson. And boy, we're
going to have to find out more about that big guy.
He's going to make some noise around here, I tell you.
You better believe it. We're going to take time out. Be back in just a moment. Okay, got a quick 60 here to tell you the entire card on that outstanding Super Challenge match that's coming up Wednesday night at the Evans Coliseum. But first, let me remind you this Thursday, March the 16th, Montgomery, Indiana. That's going to be at the Bar Reeve High School. You can save $1 by getting your tickets in advance. Should be a heck of a night in Montgomery, Indiana. You all make your plans to be out there. Now, let's take a look at Wednesday in Evansville. Frankie the Thumper Lancaster opens up against the Dreamweaver. Ought to be a heck of an opening match. Action Jackson will be going against Jungle Jim in the second. Then comes the big blast from the past. Eddie Marlin, Tommy Gilbert going into Superstar Challenge. Rick Morton will be going against P.Y. Chew High. And then it'll be the Mason-Dixon connection. Smothers and John Paul going against Shogun and Samurai with Yamamoto. Jeff Jarrett against the Nature Boy Buddy Landell. And then a bullwhip match with Dutch Mantell and Bill Dundee Wednesday. Tried and finally were successful in getting hold of, let me put it to you right, the Tennessee stud, Ron Fuller. Ron, are you there?
Yeah, sure am, man.
Hey, man, it's good to talk to you again in there. And I know that this Superstar Challenge has kind of took you by surprise on it, as you are a successful businessman and in retirement, but they contacted you about coming back against Brother Robert, and what'd you have to say to him, Ron?
Well, I haven't talked to Robert in a long time, and for a good reason, you know. We've had a lot of problems, and he's running around the country telling everybody that he's the Tennessee stud, and the people in Memphis there and that part of the country are certainly familiar with the real Tennessee stud, and there's only one that's 6'9" and 200.
You got it. Okay, Robert, listen.
Somebody special wants to talk to him. Give me that.
Uh-oh, here's your brother.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
How you doing over there, boys? Mama there? Is she in the house with you?
No, I'm not at the house, Robert.
No, she's not at the house. Well, that's very good, because I got some words for you that she ain't going to want to hear. Boy, let me tell you something. It's not too long ago. By the way, they got a picture over here of you, son, that must be 30 years old anyway. These people got the wrong idea of what you look like. I'm going to tell you something. The best thing you can do, Ron, you answered a challenge to come over here and wrestle me. Maybe your plane will crash, and that'll be about the luckiest thing that ever happened to you, because if it don't, you're going to be the biggest mess when Mama sees you again that anybody ever saw. That I've had it with you, brother, and I'm going to take care of you when you come to my side of town. Do you understand me?
Let me just say this. You know, a lot of times the old man should have taken you and put you over his knee, but it looks like I'm going to get the job. And Monday night in Memphis.
Yeah, you go get your chance to do it, son. I heard enough of you. That's the end of your phone call. I'll see you. That's it, bro.
Thanks a lot, Robert. We just had enough problem trying to get him in there and at least let him have him say. And you wouldn't even let him have him say what he had to say. That's okay. You're the one that's going to have to face him. He puts him down and all that. Let me tell you, I've seen this guy and he is 6'9" and a great wrestler. And I think this brother situation is going to be something that'll get his juices flowing again and get slammed the phone down.
Well, we've got Blue Knight stepping up here with Reddy. Blue Knight and Reddy will be going against the Mason-Dixon connection, and you met them a few minutes ago, Tracy Smothers and John Paul. Tracy out of Springfield, Tennessee. John Paul out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. You put them together, and boy, that should be a tremendous tag team, let me tell you, that you're looking at here today on Championship Wrestling.
John Paul will be starting out, David. Here we go.
They're together again and ready to go.
John Paul, an excellent young athlete, and we saw him last as he wrestled with Ricky Rice, and a very impressive team. He's now back with a friend of his. Look at that move in there. He was leaning over to give him the backdrop. Boy, he just picked him up and just slammed his head down like in a frontal DDT.
Wow. Hey, you're looking at a powerful young wrestler there, John Paul. Look at this, Tracy Smothers up on the ropes. He's going to fly off of there. Watch him. Here he comes, and he comes down with the arm. And he grabs the left arm of Reddy as he comes down. Reddy with the upper arm across the back of the neck. Tracy Smothers back to the corner, but he reverses him. He puts Reddy back in the corner and goes with the right hand.
Big elbow from Trace. We've always said this young guy always had the great natural physical ability. He had to get that mental toughness, and in the 4 years that he's been in it, he has developed it and has become quite a competitor. Big double backdrop.
Tracy Smothers goes out, and John Paul is back in. Tag made. Boss Winter said, hey, get over here, tag your partner. The Blue Knight is in there now. John Paul grabs him, takes him to the corner, tags Tracy, who leaps over the rope, and puts a boot on the upper arm as he does it. There's the Blue Knight in the air. Tracy Smothers body slams him. Tags John Paul. Tracy holds him up there, and
Flew off with a splash and got the 1-2. Dave, I think that they were wrestling with a little more than just a match. They were trying to impress Masamune and Senji.
Well, they've impressed me. I hope Tojo and his people are watching and are sufficiently impressed. Boss Winter said we're lucky he didn't get in there. It would have been a different story. 2:02 the time. Yeah.
He says that all the time, but we've seen him in there. Coming out right now, one of the biggest names in professional wrestling, one half of the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton.
You know, Lance, being 4 times World Tag Team Champions, there's a lot of tough matches that stick out in my mind. But, you know, there's really one that really gets my crawl. Because when I first started rubbernizing the Rock and Roll Express here in this area,
I remember.
a lot of people took advantage of the Rock and Roll Express because they were jealous. But, you know, it goes back to the old saying, I wished I knew what I knew back then. Because I was young, brother, I didn't know what was happening. And there's a little tape they got right here of a match with Phil Hickerson, brother, the spoiler. When they took advantage of us right here, he didn't even try to hurt me. He tried to kill me, baby. Look at this right here. Check this out.
Phil Hickerson, as you see, pounding on, and this is Ricky said is in the early days of the Rock and Roll Express, and there's no question Hickerson was taking advantage of you.
That's right, and I had a chance to relive that time. Right now is the time to do it because I like to have me a match with Phil Hickerson.
Well, the situation is such that in the Renegade Superstar Challenge, it has been arranged that again. Okay, can't you let the man have his interview?
One thing right now, Lance Russell, I heard you back there running your mouth. Let me say, When you first started and when you seen that tape, I said that day right then you was a punk, and I'll back up right now, and you still a punk. You'll always be a punk to me. So if you want your dream match or whatever you want, you can get in the ring right now, because I'll wrestle you anywhere, anytime. Well, get in there.
Come on now. Hey. Will you guys wait? Come on, Phil, just back off.
Let me tell you something right now. When you least expect it, brother, when you least expect you, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you. When you least expect you. Wait for the match.
Hey, come on, Rick, now. The match is set up, Rick, and we don't need to do it right now.
And I'm sitting, I'm ready.
Okay, fine. We don't need to have it right now, for a fact. We'll take time out. We're going to be back in just a moment. In his quest for the look for superstar challenge matches, Eddie Marlin talked to the superstar Bill Dundee.
Bill, Tommy Watson of the Renegades people wanted me to get you and find out what's the toughest wrestling match you've ever been involved in.
Well, I guess if you was just going to talk about two guys getting in there and wrestling or kicking and punching or duking it out, whatever, you want to put that way, I'd have to say it was Jerry Lawler, because I've had some wars with that boy in the past, So I would say Lawler is. If you're talking about a match where I figured I'd get hurt the worst in, and, I think would have to be Dutch Mantell and the Texas bullwhip match, he called it.
Bullwhip, how does it work, Bill?
Well, I got mad at him, or he got mad at me one time, and he said, well, if you're so big and bad, Dundee, why don't you get a bullwhip and meet me in the ring? We'll take all the ropes down, and we'll see who's the best man. I said, well, what's the rules in this thing, Mantell? He said, well, you'll have a bullwhip, I'll have a bullwhip, and who can take the worst beating or the worst lashing with a bullwhip? Because you get to hit one of them, the other one just throw the bullwhip down and jump off the apron of the ring, and we'll see who the coward is. And I believe that's the worst match or the baddest match I've ever been in. So you asked, Eddie, and I just told you.
Thank you, Bill.
Yes, sir, the Superstar Challenge has another wild one. Dundee and Mantell in a bullwhip match. Okay, Dave, we're ready to go to the ring. This ought to be a whale of a match, too.
It should be. Dundee steps into the ring right now. The little Australian will be going against Tampa, Florida's Frankie Lancaster. And the referee says, let's get her going. Dundee giving away weight, giving away height, but not giving away heart, let me tell you, as he always steps into that ring ready to wrestle, even against some mighty tough competition and a fine athlete. You got to give him that, Frankie Lancaster. Lancaster joined the stud stable right off the bat, first trip in here. That kind of put a sour taste in most of the fans' mouths when he did that. But if you just step back and look at it, that aside, he can really wrestle. He's in fine shape.
He's a physical specimen, isn't he? Well, I'll tell you, he just missed a little earlier a side headlock, and he find out you don't make mistakes against the Superstar, because Bill immediately took it into a hammerlock, and they're back up facing each other right in the center of the ring. Billy, who knows them all? You can't put anything new on him.
No, he's been there. He invented some of them, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
He and George Barnes invented half the dirty tricks in the business, I think. But they were wrestling together as a tag team. Oh, look at Billy. Take him down. Count of one he got. And Frankie Lancaster not happy. Ooh, he comes flying out of the ring. I don't think he felt that Bill should be able to maneuver him around like that. And he's maybe is a little upset with himself as much as anything else. But he was upset when he came out of the ring. He grabs Bill by the arm. The Irish whip into the ropes. Coming off of there, Lancaster plants a boot to the midsection as Dundee is coming off the ropes. Yeah, Frankie said, yeah, that's more like it. Feeling better. Lancaster got him with a fist. Dundee backed into the ropes. Frankie to the thumper Lancaster. Dumps him over the back, right in the middle of the ring.
Whoa! He drops down hard on the Superstar, and there's the cover.
Yeah, he didn't get even a good one count out of it till Dundee was already getting back up on his feet. Boy, he's nailing him with that right hand. He caught him with three good fists.
Dundee slumped down, and look at Billy! Whipped across the ring, held on, and kicked him down. Now he's back after the thumper.
Move of a veteran wrestler. Drop kick. He got him real good with one foot. Puts him down to the mat. Oh, here comes Mantell out. Mantell with that serape over his shoulders. and a bullwhip in hand. Meanwhile, Lancaster nails Dundee from behind. Dundee moved out of the way. There's a cover. Now Mantell jumps in there with a bullwhip, and that's going to end this one. Lancaster will be disqualified. Dundee will win the match on DQ. And Lancaster has just been told what happened. And look at this, he's not happy. Mantell says, what's wrong? Lancaster says, I'll tell you what's wrong. You just may have cost me a match. That's what happened. What are you doing in here?
Disqualification went against Lancaster. Right. And he, while we pointed it out earlier, while we weren't happy with the Stud Association, his Stud Stable Association, this guy is quite an athlete and a wrestler himself, and he resented the fact that Mantell came in there. Mantell cost him the match on the disqualification day. Frankie Lancaster walks out of there, and he's still not happy at all with Dutch Mantell, and neither are we might add. Comes in there. Why don't you just get out of here? You weren't even supposed to be here in the first place. We're going to see if we can get promoter Eddie Marlin back out here, because I want to talk to him about something regarding the Superstar Challenge that we've been talking about throughout the day. And hey, Eddie, is Eddie out there where he can get? Maybe we. Oh, hey, good, partner. Hey, I'm not going to let you off the hook here. Come right back out here. We've been talking about it, and I tell you, we're just overwhelmed at this tremendous Superstar Challenge. But we're not done with it. There's one bout on there that I got to ask you about. I saw on there that the Superstar Challenge was going to contain a match between Eddie Marlin and Tommy Gilbert. Tell me about it.
Let me tell you, Tommy Watson, you know, he came to me and he asked me, you know, do all these interviews with the guys about the toughest match. And he said, Eddie, what was your toughest match? So I thought, well, Eddie's going to get his name in the magazine. So I told him, naturally, it was with Tommy Gilbert. If you roll a piece of film that you got on the match that I had with Tommy Gilbert.
We got it, and let's take a look at it right here. Tommy Gilbert and Eddie Marlin.
You know, not many men my age get a second chance, Lance, to finish something that they feel like, you know, in the past has been unfinished. And certainly with Tommy Gilbert, my old partner, we traveled up and down the highway for a lot of years. And then when he turned on me, I never felt like we ever got anything really settled.
Eddie, I want to point out in this film right here, he has got a massive belt, and he just strapped your back good.
I'll never forget it,
I
Lance.
bet you'll never forget it.
That's the reason I told Tommy Watson my toughest match was with him.
And then
I'll get my second chance at
Tommy Watson went out, and he got a hold of Gilbert, and we have the Eddie Marlin, Tommy Gilbert match.
Mixed reactions, but I'm happy to have it.
Okay, partner. Tough son of a gun. I'd hate to be climbing in there with you. Eddie Marlin will be going in the Superstar Challenge against Tommy Gilbert. That's going to be a great one. We're going to take time out, and we're going to be back in just a moment. Okay, quick reminder again, Thursday, March the 16th, hosting Championship Wrestling will be Montgomery, Indiana at the Bar Reeve High School. You can save $1 by getting your tickets in advance. Okay, Wednesday night, we're talking about that Superstar Challenge, and there's going to be some dandy matches in there that will include that special challenge match with Tracy Smothers and John Paul against Shogun and Samurai. Good night, Dutch. Now, don't be snapping that thing around here. You got a bullwhip match coming up in Evansville Wednesday, but somebody else is going to have a bullwhip, too.
Yes, I am. I'm coming to Evansville, Indiana, the Renegade people. They got a hold of Dundee, and they said, hey, shortstop, what's the toughest match you ever been in? Well, he had to tell them me. He had to tell them, well, I got a bullwhip in one hand, and that dirty Dutch Mantell, he got one. We took the ropes down and made the best man stand. Of course, in the particular case he was talking about, the toughest match he was ever in meant that I won it. Now, I'm coming to Evansville, and I ain't coming to lose because this is my match. And it was the toughest match Bill Dundee ever was in. And I want all those renegade people there handing out tobacco stuff, and I'm going to get me a big chew, and I'm going to get a ring. And after I whoop Dundee down in Evansville, Indiana, I'm going to take me a big chew, and I'm going to spit it right in his eye, and I'm going to tell all those people around Montgomery, Indiana, I'm coming up there, too, and I hope Dundee and Jeff Jarrett and all these other so-called wrestlers, I hope they show up in Montgomery. But Evansville, me and Dundee going to look at each other right across the line, 20 feet away, eyeball to eyeball. Me with you, baby. Jackie, him with a whip of his choice, and may the best man win. And Lance, if you show up, I'll whop you a time or two, too.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You can talk it all you want, but don't forget Dundee's going to have a little whip right in his hand, and he can use it, too. Not around it as much as you are, but he sure knows how. And you found out. Well, he'll be there Wednesday. Don't worry about it.
You think he'll be there? Well, we'll see.
Okay, Wednesday night.
Expiration of time match. Jungle Jim McPherson and Brian Lee in the ring. And coming up here right now, the Master of Pain. He weighs in at a bunch. 325. He's 6'9". Last known address, the Atlanta State Penitentiary. And over in the corner, Shoe Baby, put there by, from Oil Trough, Texas, Dutch Mantell. We got an expiration of time match set to go here. Brian Lee starting against Dutch Mantell.
Brian, big young fella who you can't take it away from him. He at one time owned the CWA heavyweight title. He didn't keep it too long, but boy, for a young guy coming out of Orlando, Florida, into the land of the Giants, he came in here and won that CWA title, and it's something that he will never forget. The only thing he wants to do is to get it back again one day. Dutch Mantell couldn't hold him. The big guy goes between the legs and out. Mantell stalking straight out at him. Watch out, the Dutchman's mean. He did the worst thing he could do. He tagged Master of Pain. Look out for this guy.
My goodness. He's huge and he's mean, and he got the point of the finger as he jabbed Brian with it. He's choking him. Back on the ropes. Referee's calling the break. Do a lot of damage before you have to break it, though, and some guys have found that out. One of the shortcuts, and the Master of Pain, big as he is, used it. Well, he takes a swipe at Jungle Jim while he's over in the corner. McPherson started through the ropes. Referee sent him back. There it is again. Point of the finger jab. That's illegal.
Referee warned him about it. I don't know that that's going to do any good with this guy. Brian Lee swings at him, doesn't even faze him, Dave.
No, it didn't even. He just kind of shook it off. Here comes Jungle Jim, and now McPherson. He can move. He can fly. Flips the foot to the midsection, but didn't do any good.
He better start flying.
Yeah. All right, grabs him, jabs him in the throat, and digs in. Referee is really counting vigorously, telling him to break that hold.
When he steps with that foot up in the air like that, it's unbelievable how high it is because he's such a big guy. You look at him on television, I promise you, fans, you cannot tell how big this guy is till you stand beside him. Tag on Dutch Mantell. The Dutchman double hands him right to the short of the back. Boom. Nail him again with the thumb right in his eye. Comes in from behind, and Jungle Jim McPherson having himself some kind of a problem. We're about to run out of time here, and we have only got about 2 minutes left to go in the action as Dutch Mantell back to the corner picks up Jungle Jim.
Jungle Jim out of Salem, New Jersey. The jungle lair, he says. Concrete jungle of Salem, New Jersey, right. Here comes the Master of Pain back in. Mantell holds him up. That big size, what, 16, I guess? Right into the rib cage. And maybe a size 20 for all we know. It's huge, huge guy here. McPherson bounces into the turnbuckle. Master of Pain backs up, gets a running start. McPherson moved out of the way, but the Master of Pain caught himself. He did not go uncontrolled into the corner.
He doesn't even come close to ever getting a smile on his face, does he, Dave?
No.
Master of Pain.
No.
Man, oh, man. Scary to look at. Look at it.
McPherson with a press out of the corner. He converts it to a body slam. Master of Pain does not go for the cover at this point. Mantell calling for the tag. He gets it. Now Mantell grabs it. Mantell calling Brian Lee in. Brian Lee comes in, but the referee sends him back. That was just a diversionary tactic by Mantell, I think.
60 seconds to go as Mantell comes back to the corner, wraps that whip around the throat, and the referee starting the count. Finally lets go of it as our time is running out. Master of Pain inflicting a little more of it.
Jungle Jim in the corner. Dutch Mantell working on it.
Tag on Master of Pain. Our time. Track it on down. He rips him. Jungle Jim whipped across the ring. With one arm, Davey Grant. Did you see that?
And holds him. And for a 3 count, 4 minutes, 31 seconds. Give it to the Master of Pain and Dutch Mantell. Mostly the Master of Pain in that one.
Back in a moment.
Tracy Smothers and John Paul looking mighty good today. I think we'll hear more from them around the territory. And Action Jackson showed up. We don't know much about him. We're going to find out, though, let me tell you. But the big thing today, new CWA Tag Team Champions as Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden regained the belts from the team of Scott Steiner and Jed Grundy. Grundy and Steiner came in here after winning them on television just recently, and then Fuller and Golden got the return match and took them back. They did it in typical stud stable fashion, but they've got the belts
and the kendo
anyway.
stick playing a very important part in there. Well, they got them one way or the other, and that's all they care about. They don't care whether anybody likes it or not. They got the belt.
Get the belt.
Hey, listen, I am so excited about this continuing series of superstar challenge matches that's coming up. And we talked about some of them today, and there will be more.
What a start,
Oh, man, are you kidding me? Can you imagine putting all these guys back together again? And somebody said, I've forgotten who it was that said it, said this is that second chance that you rarely ever get in life. And all of these guys are going to get a chance to relive that in there. So we're very excited, and we'll be reporting all of it to you as the Superstar Challenge goes along. Okay, we're out of time. For Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of championship wrestling.